Hello, this is Grandmaster Ted Gambordella with tip number 10 on 10 things you need to know to win any fight. You know, when I was in junior high school, I was in a fight and I learned a big mistake and I didn't make it again the rest of my life. I was fighting with a guy and he said, "I give up." So I let him up, turned my back, he jumped me from behind and knocked me down and started hitting on me, and I had to win the fight twice to beat him up. So I learned a big lesson. When you're in a street fight or even a regular fight that you could get hurt in, you don't just quit because the guy says, "I give up." Now that doesn't mean you continue to hurt someone who actually has given up because they are injured or could get seriously injured. It does mean that you are aware that you're in a fight and that your life could be in danger, and you don't just quit because someone says, "Oh, I give up." That's the oldest trick in the book. Whenever Horace Gracie was fighting in the first UFC, in one of his fourth or fifth fights, he was fighting a great big guy named Chemo. Sort of like Kimbo, except he knew how to fight. And he had Chemo beaten. He put him in a submission, and he thought that Chemo had tapped. Well, the referee didn't stop the fight, and so Royce thought he tapped him out and let him go. And then Chemo proceeded to start pounding the crack out of Royce and hurt him pretty badly. And after that, Royce made a little vow he would not release the armbar or the choke until the person was unconscious or his elbow was broken. He simply did not believe them when they said they give up or tapped. And he broke their arms to make sure that they were not going to continue to fight. So what's the point here? Don't be suckered in by someone who starts a fight, picks on you, endangers your entire life, and then says, "Oh, I give up," and then when you turn around, he jumps you from behind. And also don't believe that they won't try to get even if you beat them up in a fight and you let them off lightly. Now we're talking about a street fight here, not a fight with a friend or a dojo fight or something. If you're in a fight with a street, you should leave that person where they're not going to continue the fight. And where they also realize that if they did continue to fight or try to start another one, they're going to be severely injured and hurt very badly. When my son was in high school, he was a state wrestling champ, and this tough guy who was a big street fighter wanted to have a fight with him the last day of school, and all the kids got there and he had a fight, and they squared off. My son dropped him to a wrestling stance, picked him up, slammed him on the ground, and proceeded to pound him. The guy goes, "Hey, what's going on? We're supposed to be boxing." He says, "No, I thought we were supposed to be fighting." And he proceeded to beat the guy until the guy, started crying and realized he was not going to continue to fight. And what's the point with that? He did not give up or not quit and let the guy back up because he was going to try and give the guy a great chance to beat him in a boxing match when he's a state wrestling and jiu-jitsu champion. He threw him on the ground and pounded him out. He won the fight decisively and left the guy crying and in front of all his friends and going home. That's what you should do. When you're in a street fight, don't just give up. and that's a great and that's a great point for you to remember. When you're in a fight, you're in the fight not to look pretty, not to fight their fight, not to look good, not to quit whenever someone says they give up. You're in the fight to win the fight decisively, conclusively, and to not continue to fight in the future because you let the guy off too easily. This is Grandmaster Ted Gambordella with the 10th of your 10 reasons or 10 things you need to know to win every fight.